Hello, welcome back to my fave fanfics. Here, I post, well, my favorite fanfictions, if that wasn't obvious. I do hope you'll enjoy them as much as I do. Please like and subscribe for more content. Without further ado, let's get started.
Welcome, my dear faves. This is a multi-fandom crossover one-shot. Credit goes to Loginunavailable. Multiple doors open in multiple universes at the same time. Multiple people walk through them and find themselves in a room together. Half of the people get into fighting stances while the others stand awkwardly. The room itself is about 200 meters high and a wide circle. The biggest room most of the men had ever seen. A voice echoed through the room. Do each other nor yourselves no harm, for you are here solely to converse and entertain. Speak among yourselves or don't. It's your choice to make. You may even leave if you wish. The voice died out as the 5 people within the room looked around. They studied one another with curious eyes. The oldest in the room is a tired-looking man with short, bright yellow hair and 6 whisker-like marks on his cheeks. His eyes were a vibrant blue with specks of purple around the edges. He was wearing an orange shirt with black lining and black pants. His shoes were a unique sandal, and he had a white cloak with red flames along the bottom. On his right leg, there was a pouch attached with bandages. His right arm was bandaged, insinuating some kind of injury. He was distinctly the oldest, being the most mature-looking. He stands at a height of about 5 feet 11. The second tallest in the room. The tallest, standing at a good 6 feet 0, is a man with shoulder-blade-length brown hair and a bit of stubble. One of his eyes was bandaged and he had a single leg, only being propped up by a crutch. His other eye was a greenish blue that seemed to have no light in them and are switching between colors slowly. He had a simple outfit of a brown trench coat, a white shirt and gray pants. There was also an armband on his arm with a weird symbol. The most unique male in the room is a short green-haired boy. He was the shortest, standing at 5 feet 5. His roots were black and they slowly faded to green at the tips. His eyes were big and also green, and there were 4 freckles in a diamond pattern under each eye. His outfit was a turquoise green bodysuit with black highlights. His shoes were bright red and reinforced with metal. He had a red utility belt and white gloves that went up his arms. His suit had a hood with 2 ear-like protrusions, as well as a metal mask hanging around his neck. Standing directly across the room from him is a taller male about 5 feet 8 with a brown undercut and pink on the top. He had brown eyes that were curiously glancing around. Under his eyes lay 2 small obtuse lines. His outfit is relatively simple compared to the rest of the room. He had a black high school uniform with a custom red hood and a pair of red shoes. He had a small smile on his face. The last person in the room is the same height as the last. He had a straw hat over his curly black hair. His black eyes are big and so is his smile. His red shirt is unbuttoned, showing off a big, X-shaped scar on his chest. There is also a small stitched scar under his left eye. His blue shorts stop at the knees and he has a yellow sash tied around his waist. He was wearing flip-flops for some reason. The oldest man in the room took a step toward the center of the big room. He introduced himself. Hello, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. I'm the Hokage of Konoha. I'm also 32, it's nice to meet you. The black-haired male with the large smile also took a step forward. I'm Monkey D. Luffy. You can call me Luffy. I'm 19 and I'm gonna be the king of pirates one day. Quote. Naruto gave him an enthusiastic smile. Well, as enthusiastic as he could make it. The pink-haired boy skipped forward. Yuji Itadori. Nice to meet you guys. I'm 15 and training to become a jujutsu sorcerer at Jujutsu Tech. Quote. Seemingly eased by the boy's attitude, the green-clad boy stepped up. I'm Izuku Midoriya, but you can call me Deku. I'm 16 and going to Ua High to train to become the #1 hero. Quote. Yuji gasped, you mean to tell me your eyes, hair, clothes, and your name are green? Exclamation mark. Izuku blushed at being called out and simply nodded. The last man in the room gave everyone a suspicious glance but limped forward anyway. Eren Kruger. Your real name please, he sighed, Eren Yeager. I'm 19 and a member of the Survey Corps. Good, now that you're all familiar with your names we will play a little game. Naruto raised a blonde eyebrow. I call it show and tell. You show what you can do and tell what it is. Isn't that fun? Eren sighed. Not really. I'm supposed to be undercover. The voice was silent for a moment before it spoke up again. That doesn't really matter here anyway. None of you are from the same universe after all. He didn't know if the voice was lying or not, but Eren decided he'd have his freedom here. For the time being at least. Very well. I'll choose to trust you, but so help me if you're lying I'll rip you to shreds. Deku flinched when his voice gained more emotion than it had the whole time they'd been there. Duly noted. I turn into a titan. Seeing as we're from different worlds I'm guessing none of you know what that is. There was a silence before Eren nodded. Thought so. Titans are 3 to 20 meters high and feast on humans. I've made it my life goal to kill all the titans, but as it turns out, all titans were once humans. I don't eat humans, only the titans who aren't shifters. Deku opened his mouth but Eren beat him to it. Shifters are people who can turn into titans. There are only 8 in the world including me. I technically have 2 titans in me, the founding and the attack titan. My older brother is the beast titan. Eren threw his crutch off to the side while his leg regenerated quickly. He unwrapped his eye revealing a matching set. He brought his hand to his mouth and bit down, drawing blood. There was a lightning strike from the roof as the ceiling burst open. Debris fell around the quartet still on the ground, luckily none of it hit them. When the lightning went away a 15-meter beast stood where Eren once was. Its glowing green eyes looked down on the 4. The titan had lean muscles and the same long brown hair the scout had. With no lips, its serrated teeth were on display. Steam rose off its shoulders and between its teeth as it breathed. Its body was human but it had no reproductive organs and its ears were pointed. There was a bigger puff of smoke from the nape of its neck as it leaned its head further down. Eren pulled himself from the titan with surprising grace. He slid down its back as it started falling. Soon enough, Eren was on the ground and the corpse of the attack titan was decaying. The 4 other men stared at him with awe and wonder. Deku slowly raised his hand like a kid in the classroom. Eren nodded to him to talk. Does it hurt? To exit, I mean? Quote. Eren let out a sigh and rubbed the new indentions beneath his eyes. Yeah, kind of. You get used to it after a while. All my important muscles are attached to the body itself, so when I rip away from it that can hurt. It's mostly my eyes though. Naruto asked the next question. How do you regenerate your legs so fast? I had to get a prosthetic for my arm. It's just part of the benefits of being a titan. You can rip them limb from limb but they grow back pretty quickly. The only way to kill them is by slicing the nape open. The blonde nodded. Yuji looked at the Hokage. How'd you lose your arm? Quote. Naruto glanced down at him. My best friend and I used some very powerful attacks on each other when we were 16. It ripped both our dominant arms off. He was also offered a prosthetic but refused. Deku gulped, thinking of a certain loud blonde. Why don't you go next Izuku? I'm sure they will be fascinated with your ability. The hero in training only nodded before stepping away from the group. My power is called One for All. In my world, 80% of the population have abilities called quirks. They can be as harmless as shooting confetti out of your fingers to creating sweat that explodes. Mine is more along the lines of having enough strength to change the weather with a single punch. Deku paused for a moment in order to let the power spread throughout his body. I have to spread it throughout my entire body unless I want to shatter the bones in my arms and legs. I've done that enough to last a lifetime. With green lightning surrounding his body, the short boy sped from the debris left by Eren. He jumped between pieces at breakneck speed. He slowed until he was heading towards a bigger piece of concrete. Rearing back his leg, he kicked through the rock, leaving it to crumble to pieces around him. I'm only allowed to use about 10% at the moment. The school nurse said that if I were to break my arms even one more time I'd lose the ability to use them again. The boy entered the group again and pulled his glove off and sleeve up, showing off the hideous scars that lingered on his skin. When the group had seen enough of the scar, they started to ask questions. How'd you get that? Luffy asked. I used over 100% to save a little kid from the man who murdered his parents. Naruto pointed to another scar a little farther up, the shape of a hand. What about that one? Deku gave them a wobbly smile. Aha tilde, my childhood friend used his quirk and burned my arm a bit. It's about 11 years old so it's fine. The adult looked skeptical but let it slide. Hate to ruin the moment but I would like for Luffy to go next, for I have planned something for Naruto and Yuji. The male smiled. I stretch. Luffy grabbed Deku's shoulder and ran in the opposite direction. His arms stretched until he leaned against the curved wall. He let go of the teen's shoulder and his hand snapped back to him quickly. I'm also really fast. 1 second he was on the wall and the next he was back beside the group. How fast are you? Quote. Luffy smiled, Mach 15. Naruto raised his eyebrows. My father was considered the fastest man alive, well ever really. I wonder who would win between you two. Luffy shrugged, depends on how long the race is. Yuji pointed to his face. How'd you get that? Quote. I stabbed myself when I was a kid to prove a point. Naruto nodded in understanding. Same, but mine was on my hand. Eren pointed to his chest. And that one? Oh. My best bud was hypnotized and we fought. It was mostly an accident, the men in the room all nodded. Yuji, if you would. The pink-haired teen nodded and focused cursed energy into his fist. Cursed energy is what powers sorcerers. We fight curses and kill them. Most of the time a curse will be in a space with a lot of negative energy, like schools, hospitals, and heavily populated areas. Of course, there are curses of different strengths. Most of them aren't too hard to deal with but every once in a while there will be a difficult one. Yuji punched a piece of leftover debris and much like Deku's, it was obliterated on impact. Yuji decided he would keep Sukuna a secret even if these people would likely never see him again. Naruto backed away from the group a good distance. Still within hearing range though. In my universe, everyone has a thing called chakra. It's the mix of spiritual and physical energy within the body. Technically everything has it, rocks, trees, animals, humans, even water. One of my main abilities is being able to draw on that energy and use it for myself. It's called Sage Mode. I'm one of the only sages left in the world, but everyone has the ability to draw on their personal chakra and use it to do extraordinary things. Naruto made a cross with his fingers, and with a burst of smoke, a second Naruto stood beside the first. The clone sat on the ground completely still, meditating. While he did that, the original started weaving symbols with his hands. Soon, fire erupted from his mouth, headed up. After more, water spewed from the same mouth and put out some small residue fires. Then blades of wind slashed through a detached part of the roof, splitting it in half. Electricity gathered in the air and vibrated off the whiskered male's hands. With one last set of seals, Naruto slammed his hands on the ground, creating a wall of mud and rock off to the side. The clone who was sitting on the ground popped, and Naruto's eyes gained an orange ring around them, almost like eyeshadow. A swirling ball of blue appeared in his hand. This is called a Rasengan. My father invented it, and I perfected it. I would show you, but I prefer to keep the building standing. Deku was almost shaking, he was so excited. He'd never seen someone perform so many different techniques before, let alone ones that were so different. Oren was pleasantly surprised. He only wished people from his world could do the same and contribute to the scouts. Luffy had stretched his face to accommodate for his smile. Yuji thought the man was strong like Gojo, his sensei. Yuji, Naruto, you two are more similar than you think. One of you can guess why. We both have marks on our faces? The voice paused. It pertains to them, yes. Naruto's eyes widened considerably. You mean he's also a Jinchuriki? Their chuckle echoed around the room. Not quite, but he is a host. Oh, you guys are talking about Sukuna? Sukuna? Yuji looked at Deku. Yeah, Sukuna. He's a cure that lives inside me. A mouth appeared on the boy's cheek. One of the lines beneath his eyes opened, revealing a crimson eye. Oi brat, I'm not just a curse. I'm the king of curses. Get your facts right before you open your mouth. Yuji slapped his hand over the mouth, but it just moved to the back of his hand. Shut up and go away. The curse chuckled but did so anyway. Sorry, that's Sukuna? The sorcerer in training sighed. Yeah, he's a pain. Naruto lifted his shirt up a bit. I'm a vessel as well, though Kurama doesn't come out like that. Yuji's eyes sparkled. Really? Exclamation mark. I'm not the only one? Is he a strong curse or, whoa there buddy, Kurama isn't a curse, he's a demon. He's actually the strongest of his 8 siblings. Suddenly the whiskers on Naruto's cheeks darkened and became rougher looking. His blue eyes bled into a crimson color, and from behind his lips protruded big sharp teeth. Even his voice became gravely and deep. I'm Kurama, the 9-tailed fox. I usually would not resort to talking to such pathetic humans, but you've piqued my host's interest. Before that, I want you all to tell everyone how you got your powers and abilities. I ate a forbidden fruit. I ate a strand of my mentor's hair. I ate one of Sukuna's fingers. I ate my dad. When Naruto stared at them, they all stared back. Well, Naruto, Oren started. What did you eat?
Unfortunately, this one shot is over. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time around.